Welcome back to episode 1. Adrian Peterson with the artist formerly known as the Redskins. 26.
Okay, yeah. It took me a while to get that one.
AP was 26 with the Skins. Am I right?
I think you're right. I can Google, but
Episode 1, Daryl Strawberry.
Yep.
One Saquon Barkley.
Yes. Trying to throw a couple extra yeah, Adrian Peterson.
AP at the top of the list. Let's fucking go.
Oh my God, I got a
Carnival. Choose. We got an ad. Anyway, right now it's just me and Jake. We just wrapped up an interview with Joey Coldcuts from Bob Does Sports. It was a great interview. It went a full hour and change.
Yeah,
right,
I think
Jake?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fantastic interview. Anyway, that is the entire episode today. We talked about everything. Professional golf. We talked about business. We talked about scrambles. We did some listener Q&A. It is a fantastic interview. Ryan had to run right after, so we're introducing it now. So here is the interview with Joey Coldcuts from Bob Does Sports.
They piped that the wrong way.
I'll call the clubhouse. We'll book in another 18 for tomorrow.
Okay, they cheated on that. They fluffed their balls.
Yeah, no better time for the breakfast ball than now.
Dude, how was the Genesis?
Man, I went with my girlfriend and we went early. We were able to watch Tiger and Rory.
Unreal.
And dude, it's probably the best pairing of golf I've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Tiger would make a putt or would miss a putt and would walk off the green, and like just all these people would start like. Meanwhile, like Rory's like lining up a birdie putt or JT's like putting for par, and I'm like, the fuck's going on? Like chop liver. Like it's insane the following that Tiger Woods has. And like when he's in a tournament, just the feel of like just there's a different feel. There's just different aura. It's so sick. We followed him for about like 6-7 holes, and like one of the final holes before we left, we were going to another group. We were on one of the holes, and my girlfriend, she's like, I'm gonna go near the ropes so I can fist bump Tiger. And she never watched him, and I was like, babe, that's not how it works. Like you literally walking inside the ropes, and he probably wouldn't fist bump you, you know? And she's like, no, I think you'll fist bump me. And I'm like, fuck, whatever. Okay, we'll go over. So we go all the way over to the side where he had to walk by. And they hit their shots, and fucking the guy's walking by and he fist bumps her, and she's like, "See,
no way!
What the fuck, man? Like, I couldn't get a fist bump if I was playing the round with him.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. And then to follow up, Rory follows behind and fist bumps her too, and she's like, "See, I told you." I'm like, you don't understand how fucking rare that is.
I know.
We were at the Waste Management last year, and I stood on 18 and they were walking off, and I was right on the ropes too. And we have video of it. I stuck my hand out and I got snubbed by 3 golfers, their caddies, and the last dude that he did fist bump me was Scotty Scheffler's caddy. But those guys, like, compared to
they
Tiger.
Don't care.
Yeah.
And especially a guy like Tiger, like he's got everybody coming at him. He just walks, and I was watching him on the final day, and like I was saying to my girl, I was like, look at when he walks. Like he just walks in a straight line. Like to even have him acknowledge or look at you is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of lucky that normally I've been to another tournament. I've been to the Farmers when he played, and it was like trying to get in his pairing. It was like 6 to 8 deep. Like you couldn't even get near the ropes.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough that because he teed off so early, like at Riv, it was still like accessible, which I've never seen when I've watched him before. But man, it was fucking awesome. We had just been to the Waste Management the weekend before, which was a totally different vibe. I mean, you go, you went to the 16th hole, and that was my first time ever being there. We were walking the course, and then I was there. My buddies Kyle Allen and Sam Darnold hit me up. They're like, "Are you in the in the 16th, like in the gallery?" And I was like, "No." They're like, "We got a couple extra tickets if you guys want to come up." And man, walking into that thing, it's like being in the fucking Coliseum before a gladiator.
That's the easiest yes you've ever had.
Is it what?
The easiest yes you've ever had.
Oh, I mean, I actually had a ticket to go in because Bob had got tickets from me, Perez, and him. But like, I was with my girlfriend and then I was out with another buddy and I'm like, I don't want to strand them here.
Yeah.
You know, so we were able to all get in. But dude, they give you a wristband. They're like, this is good for like 10 drinks, but they're not even scanning. So you pretty much drink the whole time.
Yeah.
That's sick. And then you walk in and it's like, we're on the 3rd tier and it's just like all different like rows of business. It was like being in the Kentucky Derby. It was like really
That's awesome.
cool. And then we went down and we were watching and like a bunch of guys below us, I guess, saw that we were there and just started screaming Bob Does Sports and chanting, getting rowdy. And, man, it was a fun environment. It was crazy.
There's probably like when you go to things like that now for you guys, it's probably hard to just be a part of the general public. You kind of have to have that inside access to where, I mean, otherwise you're not even going to be able to enjoy the tournament, right?
I feel the worst for Perez because he stands out the most. Like when you see the silhouette of this little you see his silhouette, you know it's Perez. He's got the hair flowing.
Yep.
He's kind of stocky and this big guy just kind of waltzing around the course. And it's like he got bombarded, man. Like at least Bob and I, we can kind of like hide in the crowd a little bit. Like we can blend in. But it's cool, man, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's not annoying or anything. It's just like, it's super cool to see like the support and like just the guys who like want to say hi to us or get a picture with us or shit. Like, I mean, we're just regular dudes like nobody else. You know what I mean? Like we're the same as everybody else. We're just lucky that we have a platform where we can golf and do this shit for a fucking living.
Right.
And the fact that, you know, we have the best followers and the best fans ever. And they're just like cool guys who just either want to do a shot with us or just dab us up. So it's always love, but it is like the last few times we've gone, like even at Riviera this last time, I probably took like 50 to 70 pictures, which is crazy. I probably wasn't smart. I wore a pink hoodie, which, you know, I think
not going to stand out.
Like the Energizer bunny running down the fucking stairways, you know, but it's cool. It's super cool to see like this thing and how it's taken off and just like the progression of everything. It's super awesome, man.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, it's a great problem to have. It means you're doing the right things. If people want to come talk to you, take a picture with you, it means you're doing your job right, and it matters to them a little bit at least.
Well, yeah, people. I'm sure some people are like, "Oh man, doesn't it get old to just be like getting bombarded and taking photos all the time?" It's like, this is what we signed up for. Like we wanted it to get to this point, and now that it is at that point, it's like you have to appreciate and respect all that because those are the people that are buying merch and watching videos and doing all that kind of stuff. Like that literally moves the needle in front of you every time.
I always say to myself, like, I'm literally not standing here if it's not for these people.
Right.
So like you remind yourself, like I was grinding my ass off, working 10, 13-hour days, 12-hour days in an industry that I liked and I enjoyed, but like I wasn't traveling, golfing, and like doing cool shit for my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's like anytime I'm like, oh, I don't want to take another picture. It's like, take another picture.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's the least that you can fucking do to be able to have like, you know, the opportunities that lay ahead of us, you know? So, and just to see like what's come from it now, it's like, if you were told me before this year that like we would be sponsored by Callaway or some of this shit, I'd be like, no way. Like I had somebody come to me the other day and they're like, what is it like to be sponsored by Callaway? And I'm like, well, it's awesome, but it's kind of like being the dumbest kid in school. It's like, I don't think Callaway, you know, at least, you know, in the past envisioned signing up to like sponsor like a 12 to 15 handicap. You know what I mean?
For sure. But like,
but it's super cool.
Tyler and I talk about that all the time. It's like that is where golf is trending though. The type of people that follow us and the type of people that follow you. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's a very similar audience.
I would love to know if we combined our audiences and averaged their handicaps where they would be. I would say high teens.
Probably.
I don't even have an official GIN, to be honest.
I don't either.
Neither do we.
It's a complete guess.
We guess.
But it's like, you know, 90% of the time when I'm golfing for Bob Does Sports, we're playing in scrambles or we're doing different shit like that. Like, so it's like, I don't even think like Perez was like appalled when he found out that Bob and I didn't have it. Like, handicap. He's like, this is ridiculous. And then we were at the Callaway event with Good, and he goes, can you believe these fucking guys don't have a handicap? And like none of them have it either, except for like, I think Luke Quan and maybe one other guy in there. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm like, Perez, it's YouTube golf. We're not on the fucking tour, man. Like, you know, like we're playing in scrambles and best balls and you know what I mean? Like I'm not competing for, you know, pro-ams and like amateur, you know, like it's a different world, but you know, we get to golf and just have fun with it. You know, the fortunate thing for me, which, you know, is kind of crazy. It's just kind of set up that way. It's like people almost enjoy it better when I play badly because I fucking lose my shit and I go off on a tangent. And people, you know, people enjoy that. Like I remember not too long ago, I was, I don't know what I was doing, but my sister's boyfriend, he messaged me. He's like, yo, did you see this video of you that's on YouTube? And I'm like, what video? He's like, it's like a 16-minute video that somebody's just put together of just you losing your shit.
Yeah, Joey Coldcuts compilation, losing shit.
Yeah, and this video, like, I don't even know. This guy must have spent time going through all of our videos and just compiled like a 16-minute video. And the thing had like 100,000 views in like a week. And people were like, this is the best shit ever. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. I want to play better golf. I gotta work on my swing and shit. But like, honestly, it's like when you know that you're going to be just as fucking funny if you play bad as if you play good. I mean, it's kind of nice to have that at least as a little bit of leverage.
Hey, also you can use that as an excuse. Like if you're playing shitty, like, hey, I'm doing it for the views. I got to pay the bills here.
Well, here's the thing is I actually do want to play good golf because I hate reading through the comments like, how the hell is this guy golfing for a living and he's still as bad as when he started, or he's regressing, you know? And it's like, yeah, I don't enjoy, like, when we played Keegan Bradley, I was like an anchor. Like, poor Perez was like carrying us. And like, you know, I want to contribute. I want to make good shots and like make, you know, it feels good. When
it does.
Especially when you're on camera and then you have to rewatch it like weeks later and you're like, oh my God, I was so fucking bad that day. You know, like it makes a big difference. So it's like, I want to play good, but it's not an easy game. No, like, I feel like people watch it and like we're playing with guys who are like ex-college players and like these guys are sticks and like Perez is a scratch golfer. So like if we were just to go out and play with the average guy, I feel like we would stock up okay.
Yeah.
But when you put it compared to like a guy who's like a plus 1.6 handicap, it's like, of course we're going to look like total dog shit.
Yeah, you know? For sure. Yeah. The guy who gives us lessons here in town, I think he's a +2. And our goal last summer was to get out and go golfing with him just to see what he's like on the course. And I mean, like in lessons, it's like, all right, this guy can play. And then we actually got out with him and he shot 6 under. And Tyler didn't break 90 that day. I didn't break 80 that day. We both had decent days, but it's like, this is the difference between +2 and guys like us. But also, we wouldn't be as, like us and you guys, we wouldn't be as entertaining if we were better. So we talk all the time. We're like, dude, we can't get that good. No, like, we have to cool it on the lessons here.
Right. Well, people all the time, they're commenting like, what are your credentials? We don't have any credentials.
Yeah.
We just like golf.
Yeah.
But you can enjoy the game. And here's the thing is like, at the end of the day, I don't think there's no parameters on how the game's meant to be enjoyed, right?
Agreed.
So like, you could go out and shoot the round of your life. Like my best round this year, people won't believe it, but I shot 3 over. I played at Banff Springs this summer. I shot a 75 and it was like no gimmies, no mulligans, like straight up. And I was locked in and it felt unbelievable. But there's times I've gone out with my buddies and I've shot probably mid to high 90 and just horrific and just gotten wasted or hit an edible at the turn and I had the time of my life. So like we're not playing professionally. I was gonna say we're not playing for money, but I guess I kind of am in some ways.
A little bit.
We're not playing here to make a cut. You know what I mean? So like I feel like our channel specifically is like entertainment first and then golf second. Like people know when they tune into Bob Does Sports, like what they're getting. They're getting like a couple guys who are subpar golfers and then one stick in Fat Perez. And like, I feel like as long as, you know, people can watch and be entertained, that's what we can never lose. But like in terms of us shooting well, it's like, you know, if we play great, that's awesome. I love it. I get to rewatch it and see myself make some good shots. But if we play bad, it's kind of par for the course, you know?
So like that kind of leads me to an actual question I had for the podcast. How do you get your start? Like, because golf predominantly, especially in the YouTube space for the last 10 years before you guys blew up, was really good golfers. So how do you sit there and make a decision as a, on paper, bad golfer and be like, we can make a successful YouTube channel? How do you start that?
I think it was kind of like how we positioned ourselves. So obviously Bobby had like a good following prior to anything that we did. So like, and he's been in the comedic space for a while. So that definitely helped, right? Because I think like even before we did Bob Does Sports, he had over a couple 100,000 followers, or like close to at least 150 to 200,000 followers. So like that helps right out of the gates because you have people who watch our videos, and we're doing, comedic stuff, and we were putting up like golf videos already just of us like shooting the shit and like whatever, but it was never on YouTube. Like anytime we tried to put anything on YouTube, it kind of fell flat. What really helped us is that when Bob Does Sports was kind of, when it came full tilt, we have a media company that signed us and that we work for, and they have a huge influence within like Instagram and throughout different channels.
Sure.
So they owned like Drunk People Doing Things. They owned, before it was Breezy, it was called Drunk Golfers Doing Things or something like that, or Doing Things Golfers or something. I forget what it was called, but like, and then Shithead Steve and like all these accounts where it was kind of like in our wheelhouse. And they'd have like 1 million followers here, 1 point something million followers here. So like they had a good platform for us, and that's what we really needed. And I think what we did is Bob and I, like when we first started doing the channel for golf, when we made it golf centric, we really focused on like making it comedic. You know what I mean? So we started with the challenges. So we did like the beer challenge. We had to drink 9 beers and break a score. We had to each drink 9 beers in 9 holes and break a score of whatever it might have been collectively. We did that with hot dogs and stuff. And then we started doing like speed golf and funny shit. So it really was never about the golf right out of the get-go. And like, it was just funny shit. And then we had the platform where they could kind of share it. And then they created from, Golfers Doing Things was the name of the channel. They turned it to Breezy Golf. So they'd share it on that. That helped get us exposure and help us grow. So with that, coupled with like, just kind of like the avenue that we took, it kind of just worked and it kind of started growing. And then I really feel like when we added Fat Perez, and then we were able to do something with Foreplay Pod, we did a whole match against them. That was another really great opportunity for us because it gave us tons of exposure, and people were like, their following that they had was able to see us and like, these guys are super funny, and like Perez is like an enigma. And then we did some stuff with like Grant and Garrett from Good. So like, we were very fortunate that we had people who were at the top of their game who were willing to collaborate with us and kind of gave us, I guess, enough of like credentials, like, hey, these guys are somebody. And like people who would follow them would jump over and then start watching us. And it just started to grow. But I mean, it's not easy. It's people think like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to create a YouTube channel with my friends. I know, man. It's going to pop off. And I think like somebody was telling me now, like in schools, like one of the top jobs that kids want to be is like a YouTuber now. Which even that term is kind of cringy for me, but like it's really cool because that's the thing. And it's like, I think people think it's super easy, but like we grinded it out for a while before we were able to do this. And Bob and I were making videos when we were just using our cell phones and shit. Now we got drones, we got multiple cameras, we got a whole editing team, between Jet and Ticket. We got like people behind the scenes who are marketing for us and putting tournaments on, and like a whole sales team to get us like to partner with people. So it's like, it's a whole entity. Like people just see Bob Does Sports. They think it's just 3 of us clowns just parading around, doing our thing. But it's really, there's a lot behind the scenes that kind of really helped us get there. And it's, to answer your question, it's not fucking easy, man. It's really hard.
Well, like, and there's a ton of parallels. Like we're in the YouTube space, but I'd say we're predominantly in the podcasting space. And it's everybody and their brother thinks it's just 3 guys that sit in front of microphones and spew bullshit about golf. But essentially, like, there's so much more that goes into it behind the scenes, and trying to explain that to my dad that I actually have a real job and I got to work hard at it. It's been a very interesting, and it's a fun job for sure. But at the same time, we do work our asses off at this.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think idea generation too. It's like we kind of started out like you guys did, Joe. We were doing the random club challenge. We were doing speed golf. We were doing shit like that. And like how we originally started, we're going to film shot by shot, like 4-person rounds. We did 2 of those and neither of them saw the light of day. And we're like, the one guy, like our boss, who he's got the following that we've kind of piggybacked off of. He's like, dude, I'm out. You guys can have this page. Do what you want with it. So we did. And we're like, all right, well, I think we need to start mixing it up and doing more of the average golfer stuff, because 90% of golfers are guys like us and are guys like you. And that's why they relate so much. So it's like, hey, if we can hit that market now, I think we're going to be kind of successful at this down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
There's like 70, some statistic like 70%. I don't know if this is legitimate or not, but like 70% of golfers can't break 100.
Yeah.
So like, whenever I'm feeling like a bad golfer, I just remind myself of that, and I feel a little bit accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
100%.
I totally agree with you. There's never been more of a demand for golf content, and like whether it's podcasts. I mean, we started our own podcast now through Bob Does Sports, and we kind of thought like just because of like our following through YouTube that we were just going to crush the podcast. And again, to your guys' credit, it's not easy because there's so many golf podcasts out there to like establish yourself as like one of the top echelon golf podcasts. Those are so many. So like everybody's trying to get in. There's tons of people trying to vie for like positions and trying to make this a career. And like, yeah, at the end of the day, you do have to be on top of your game. It's not something that just happens naturally. You have to work at it. And like, luckily for us, like our work is limited to like, we shoot like 1 week a month, but like that week is just like all systems, all hands on deck. Like you got to be dialed in. You can't have a bad day when you go out there and film. Like you got to be funny. You got to be on. You can't be having a bad day. If you fought with your girlfriend or some shit, you got to put it behind you. It's almost like going on stage as an actor or whatever. Not that we're acting, like we're just being ourselves, but like you have to be in a clear headspace, and you really got to just put out something that, you know, you can't have a bad week because people will be like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? And you got to keep up. I think the hardest thing for us is on the YouTube page. Like you just can't keep doing 3-man scrambles. Like you got to make it entertaining. You got to come up with new ideas and like new different things and like new formats that, like, if these people are watching you week in, week out, they don't just want to watch the same regurgitated stuff. They want to see fresh ideas, and they want to see new players, and they want to see new concepts. And so it forces us to like really kind of be innovative and like be on top of it. And to your guys' point, like, you know, as great a job as this is, it's still a job. Like you still have to focus on your craft, you know? And to your point, I was saying like to my dad, you know, my dad's an old school Italian guy, like very, very work oriented. He's a professor, like he's in education. So like I've worked very hard to get into like the top part of the career in the hospitality. And like before I left, I was working at a Michelin star restaurant as an AGM and like working for Wolfgang Puck. And like, you know, the job was no joke. And my dad was proud of me because he saw that I worked hard to progress to get there. So like when I told him that I was going to quit to like eat hot dogs on golf, he was just like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know what I mean? So when you said that, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally see where you're coming from.
It's like they don't, especially for my grandpa, even he doesn't really even understand what we do. But him and grandma every night are on their phones watching the podcast. So they love it, but they don't get it. And it's interesting watching the older generation try to figure out what the hell we're doing. But to that point, you mentioned the challenges. You mentioned the hot dogs. We have a few listener Q&As. And the first one is from Modder Girk 2015.
Sure, we'll roll with
I don't know. What was the worst of the challenges you've done?
The worst one by far was the hot dog challenge. We kind of were not prepared and organized. So we work out, we do most of these challenges at a place called Chevy Chase Country Club. It's out here close to Glendale. And it's where Morikawa actually grew up playing. It's the chillest spot ever. The guys there are super nice, and they kind of let us just have free reign of the club.
Yeah.
So this was one of our first challenges doing it there. And when we had told them that we were going to do something, like we said, can we bring hot dogs? They were gracious enough. They were like, listen, we have a guy who's our chef or our cook. He will make all the hot dogs for you guys. He'll do everything. He'll set it all up. And we're like, that's awesome. We don't have to bring anything. They're just going to bring it out for us. They're going to be cooking them while we're golfing, which was great. But like, we should have probably had the wherewithal to be like, hey, listen, like, what kind of hot dogs is he getting?
Are they fun dogs? Are they Johnsonville?
I mean, so he wasn't getting like ballpark wieners. Like these were full-on brats.
Yeah.
And then like big brioche buns. So like I would realistically say, and I don't know if you guys saw it or not, like the challenge that we did for that, it was like one of those would be like almost like the equivalent of having like 1.5 hot dogs because they were so big. And then, my dumbass, I told them, they said we could do it with peppers or bacon. I was like, oh, that sounds good. So
Chicago
like,
dog
I had was like loaded, and it was tough. Like it was legitimately like brutal. I'd say the next hardest one after that would be this taco one that we did. That was anything with the food is always harder because like your body wants to reject it. Like the drinking is tough because you get hammered when you're doing it, but like it's not hard to put down 9 fireball shots, right? Like you get hammered, but like you can handle it. But eating like 15 tacos or 9 huge brats, and you're doing it within a span of less than 2 hours, and you're trying to golf, it's awful. Yeah. So like hot dog for me is number 1.
Dude, at what hole did you realize like I fucked up? This challenge sucks.
The hot dog, it was probably once we got onto like the 4th or 5th hole. Like when I got to like my 5th hot dog, and I was like, dude, I'm only halfway. Like I don't really realistically remember ever a time where I had eaten more than 3 hot dogs in a sitting. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I was like, yeah, you eat 9 hot dogs. But like when you're actually doing it and then you're on your 5th and you're like, I'm only halfway and I am beyond stuffed. And then like the last 4 are just like trying to force them down. And the hardest thing I always do is like, I try to give myself 1 hole off that I can kind of just like take a break on the 8th hole. But it always turns out like on the 9th hole, like the last hole, I have to eat 2 hot dogs or 3 tacos, or like I leave it to the end. And that last hole is always just like, it's just a total grind.
Yeah, it's like you literally cannot wait until you're done. You think it's easier right away, but when you get into it, it's kind of like, should we
can tell them. We haven't released the tapes yet.
So we have some archived footage of we did a challenge this last fall. It was the John Daly challenge. So one of the most epic rounds, I believe, is a practice round that John Daly did was 21 cigarettes, 6 bags of peanut M&Ms,
on like Diet Coke,
and 12 Diet Cokes. And we went into this thing. We're obviously scheming. We're like, all right, what's going to be the hardest? What's going to be the easiest? And we were completely wrong with all of them.
Yeah. So we attempted to do all of that in 18 holes. And the easiest thing we did was the cigarettes.
And we don't smoke. We're not we're not smokers at all.
I feel like after 10 cigarets, you'd be like nauseous.
You're nauseous, but you're also numb to the point where like, what's one more cig? I've already had 10.
Well, what was the hardest? The Diet Cokes, probably.
100%.
Diet Cokes.
100%.
And then I thought for sure the easiest was going to be the M&Ms. The M&Ms were tough. I haven't eaten a peanut M&M since.
I haven't either,
This was 4 months ago.
Was it the full-size bag?
Yeah, it was the full like gas station size bags of peanut M&Ms.
Did he do that during a real round of golf?
Yeah, a practice round. Some journalist followed him around and cataloged everything that went into his body. And it was 21 cigs, 12 Diet Cokes, and how many bags of M&Ms?
6.
6 bags of M&Ms, and not a single drop of water.
This guy's an enigma, man. People have said that we need to do something with him, and I think we probably will. But he'd be electric just to have on the channel. But like to think of like how good a golfer is, that guy won a major.
Yeah,
Open.
Yeah,
I mean. Yeah. He's not a hack.
Not at all. And to just think like while we're living vicariously through him by doing this challenge, it's like, how does someone get to this point? How can you smoke over a cigarette per hole, a bag of peanut M&Ms per 3 holes, and then, well, I don't know, what is it, like 1.5 Diet Cokes per hole? Well,
the thing too is at the end of that challenge, I didn't know if I feared John Daly or I respected him.
Well, here's the thing. You guys were doing it as a challenge. He was just having a round.
Right. That was just normal.
He was counting, or wasn't like, I need to do, X more Diet Cokes and X more cigarettes. He was just doing what came naturally to him.
Right. On a Wednesday before a PGA event.
So imagine if he was actually trying to do a challenge. Yeah. Do at least like another probably 1.5 times more than what he did.
I would not doubt that one bit.
Yeah.
If you guys can get him on the channel, Joe, you should do like a Hooters wings challenge. If he's down for that, get like see if you guys can eat like 200 Hooters wings in around 18 holes. That would be electric.
I feel like he would definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
you and Bob got to take 50, and he'll take the other 50.
He's his son is a hell of a golfer too.
Yeah,
he is.
His son is just playing for Arkansas now for the golf team. He's unreal. Watching the father son thing, they won it I think this past year, and like seeing how good
They won it. They won it 2 years ago. I can't remember who won it.
I think
last year.
they got second this year.
Yep.
They were I think they were stroke off.
Who won it this year?
I don't remember. Was it like JT and his father-in-law or something?
Oh yeah, might have been.
Yeah, something.
Well, it was 2 years ago then. I know like one of the ones I watched, he won.
They did,
and the kid is just striping the ball like, and then of course he's walking up with like these wild like, like Mexican deals de las Muertes, like skulls, pants, and just like not a fuck given.
No, not at all. He's like, all right, where's the closest Hooters and how many wings can I get?
Well, he's
a generous gambler, like from what I understand.
Well, and John
That's
Daly,
like $200 a spin on it, on a machine. It's nuts.
The ROI on that's not great.
The son, John Daly Jr. is sponsored by Hooters too, isn't he? He's got an NIL deal
Family
with
affair.
Hooters. Which imagine being 19 years old. You are the king of campus. You have a Hooters deal, and your dad's John Daly.
Oh yeah, I mean, you never have to go to the cafeteria again. No. Like your buddies are like, little John, you want to go to Hooters tonight because I'm hungry.
So I got to ask you guys, how were you even close to completing it, or not even close? Well, actually, I shouldn't ask you guys because I don't want you guys to give.
Yeah,
it away,
we'll save it. We'll save it.
Let's just say
save it. But like it was, so I guess I should just say it was way harder than you anticipated.
100%.
It was very, very difficult. And as a disclaimer before the video even comes out, don't do it. Like I don't want anyone to try this.
It's dumb.
It was awful.
All right, guys, before we get into the second half of the
Ryan's here.
Electric Joey Coldcuts interview.
Clearly, we teleported through time again. Ryan's back. We forgot to do the ad read during the Coldcuts.
Yeah.
But we did the intros without Ryan. Now Ryan's here for the ad read, just to give you guys a little taste of Ryan being back in the office. So, what are we talking about now, Ryan?
I mean, we got done at 10 p.m. I had to get home to my kid.
It was late. Your kid shouldn't be up that late.
Speaking of my kid, when he gets of golf age, which is probably within the next year, and he's only 7 months now, he's going to be having to buy his own golf balls. The only ones that he can afford with his birthday money, because at this point he's only had one birthday, is the T-Birds and the pin drops. You know why? Because you buy 3 dozen T-Birds, you get a dozen free. Also, you go to checkout, you use double bogey 20, you get 20% off. It makes it $16 per dozen, which you just don't find these days.
You know what I'm looking forward to as a dad?
When your kids turn 18?
I'm looking forward to for the first time when my child is 21, sharing our first shot out of the pour caddy together.
Yeah. That's about what, 18 and a half years?
Yeah, something like that. Ryan, do you want to do a little rope? Do you play my kid? He's 21 now. We're golfing. We have a Union Green pour caddy, and now we're taking our first shot together.
Dad, I've been taking shots since I was 12.
Oh, well, take one with me now, kid. Look at this.
Deal. Get the pour caddy out. Give me a shot of Fireball.
Wow, funny you say that. This Union Green thing looks like a coffee mug, right? Wrong. Little spout on top. Unscrew the bottom. Looks like a cup. Wrong again. Shot glasses. You only need 2 because it's just me and my son. Take those out.
I'm not taking a shot right now, by the way. I got shit to do.
What do you mean? Oh, look at that.
Oh,
fuck.
Ryan.
Tyler, it's fucking 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
You said you wanted a shot of Fireball, so your boy got some Fireball.
Ryan, take the shot, dude.
Jake, don't fucking tell me what to do.
Cheers. Cheers, son.
You know what? I did forget to brush my teeth this morning.
Gross.
And I just brushed them right there. A little bit of Fireball. If you've ever wanted to be a mixologist, or I've ever considered entering like the mixology industry, this is a great place to start, because basically like you got the nipple on top of your pour caddy, and you can kind of test out your skills in the golf course. Also, if you want to get real good, you can pour shots while the cart is in motion.
Dude, you know what I just realized a pour caddy kind of is? It's like the conceal and carry for shots.
Kind of, yeah.
It is.
You don't even need a license for it either.
No.
They don't ask for proof of license
And
when you go through Union Green.
Except they might ID you, so make sure you're 21.
So guys, if you want Great deals on golf balls. If you want to get yourself a pour caddy for the next round with the boys or the next round with your freshly 21-year-old son, head over to uniongreen.com. Check it all out. They got the deals for you, and we hope you enjoy the latter half of the interview.
Love you, son. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
None of those things are fun. They're entertaining to watch. And I think like when you're with your buddies, you're like, oh, I could probably do that. But like when you're actually out there and you're doing like the days that we do our challenges, like I dread them, man. It's so brutal. Like we know that it's going to like smack, like the videos are going to be like hysterical. So we're like, okay, we're all committed to doing it. But it's like one of those days where no one's looking forward to go into the round to do it. And then Jet just ends up being the most pissed off of everybody because he's got to take care of all of us.
He's got to, and well, he's also got to edit all the footage, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, he's not happy about that.
Well, at that point, it's not even about the golf. So, like, you guys can forget about what's happened in the game. It's like, we just got to finish this.
Like, I honestly don't think viewers would care if you guys just 5-ironed the rest of the round punch shot so it stayed in the fairway. You can get it over with faster as long as you down the hot dogs.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not easy. And now Bob's made it like if we don't complete the challenge, we have to redo it, which stinks.
Oh man!
Because like if we came one stroke away from not completing the golf aspect of that taco challenge, and like I have not had Taco Bell since I did that, and it's my favorite fast food chain, and it's just such a shame, such a damn shame. So like, they're not easy, they're not fun, but you know. They're hysterical to watch.
Next challenge, you got to pick something you absolutely hate anyway, so it doesn't ruin it for you.
I was thinking about doing like a milk challenge.
Oh, God.
Do like a gallon of milk.
Well, it's weird.
Golf.
And it's weird because people love watching other people in pain.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yes, we'll sacrifice this one video to be in pain for hundreds of thousands of people.
How do you think Jackass made a living?
Exactly. Straight pain. The views are racked up. The money's coming in. It's like, all right, well, boys, we got to do this again.
Yeah. It's like, why does our suffering make them so happy?
I don't know. I think it's because they're not suffering themselves.
Fair enough. Next question. Sorry to pivot. From Liam Wells. What is a better feeling? A tap in birdie or chipping in from 40 yards out to save par?
I'm going to go with my chipping game. If you've seen it, it's pretty awful. So it's not often that I can make a good chip, but I will say that like birdies are few and far between. So like anytime that you're in position to tap in birdie, you're feeling yourself while you're walking off that green. And I think that's a hard feeling to beat, especially, you know, from a guy who's like, you know, higher handicap like myself. Give me birdies, give me them early, give me off, and I'll take that all time.
Well, it also like birdies create momentum too, where a 40-yard chip in for par, like your other 3 shots on that hole were probably dog shit if you're still 40 yards out. So it's like there's no momentum. Yes, it's a great feeling, but there's no momentum being built off chipping in for par versus tapping in for birdie.
I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree with both of you. I'm gonna take and chip in for bogey. I mean. You know how good?
No shit.
I feel like an absolute pile of shit for 5 strokes, but on that 6th one, I chip in. I'm back. I am back on the next hole.
It's so funny. Like I was saying earlier, like golf is just such a game of like, you know, I played recently. I played around a nice course, super nice course up in Newport called Pelican Hill, and was playing just dreadful golf. Like just was all over the place. Got to like the 16th hole, a par 5, like 500 and something, 550 yards or something like that. And like really just a brutally tough hole. And I bombed a drive and I was like in position. I was like 240 away, like on my second shot. And I was like, you know, I'm playing so bad right now. What doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's no laying up now.
5 wood. And I don't think if I hit like 100 shots, I could have hit it as well.
Yeah.
I just cured this thing and it was like drawing in, like on all the right side was water. The left side was shit. And it was like, it just drew in and like landed before the pin and ended like 10 feet short. Oh, and then I made my eagle putt. And
Let's go.
Everything that had happened prior to that no longer existed. I walked to the tee box, to the next tee box, like I was Tiger Woods. Like that's the mentality. Like that's why golf is so funny like that. Cause like it just keeps you coming back. Even when you have a terrible round,
Yes.
there's like that one shot or that one moment or sometimes you don't even have that. And you're like, I was just so bad that I can't be physically this bad the next time I play. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to be better.
Yeah.
It just somehow always ropes you in to play it, to want to go back to it. It's like that bad ex-girlfriend that somehow you just can't get rid of. You just keep ending up with her. You know?
Like, I always compare it with my buddies. I compare it to nicotine. Like I know sometimes it is not good for my health, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah,
It's
well, I mean,
true,
what's
man.
more
It's
expensive
such
here?
a-
It's like you got golf and nicotine. It's like, oh, you like open the wallet up. It's
The
gonna be
problem is they
expensive.
both pair so well
I
together.
know.
Especially when you do the John Daly challenge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that one actually got me off nicotine for a while. All right, last question from the listeners. This is from Out of This Wood. My buddy is struggling to break 100, but he insists on playing blues. How do I talk him into playing whites or reds?
Well, I don't think you should ever play the Reds. I do think like the white tees are universally known as like, you know, like basically for beginners. And
Those are
like,
our tees, Joe. Those are our tees.
Yeah, we play the blues because we play with Perez and
Yeah.
I probably should be playing the whites, but like I actually have the distance that I can play that.
Yep.
But here's the thing: it's like golf is as tough a game as you can already imagine to start off playing. Like you're not doing yourself any favors if you're struggling to break 100. Like you shouldn't even be focusing on your score right now.
Right.
You should be focusing on just like finding a couple good shots that you can take to the next round and just getting in a groove. And like I feel like, especially as like a beginner golfer, like if you focus on the score, it's going to take you way longer to progress and to get better than if you just go there and just have fun and try to play your best.
Yep.
And then eventually you'll start seeing results, you know? It'd be like going to school. Like school's not easy. And then taking like calculus and like the hardest classes that you don't necessarily need. And like, what's the point? Like, unless you're enjoying it and you're good enough to do those classes and like to get by, like take something a little easier, like make it a little easier on yourself. You know, it's not like if you play the white tees, you know, your golf round isn't acknowledged. You know what I mean? So those tees are there for a reason. It's not like, you know, it's all, and here's the thing too, is like, if you ever played with somebody that you're paired with, like a single or something, and he's like a guy who wants to play the tips and he starts struggling early on, you're like, what is this guy doing? It's almost more embarrassing to like be a shitty golfer on like the harder tee box, and it takes longer and everybody else is more pissed off than it is just to be like, hey, you know what? I'm a new golfer. I'm playing from the whites. Everybody's like, okay, that makes sense. That's common sense.
Yeah.
So I would say to your buddy, like, if he's feeling like out of place or like he's embarrassed because he's a newer golfer, it's only worse if you're playing from the harder tee boxes, and it's only more embarrassing for him, for the guys that you're playing with, because they're looking at you like, this guy stinks.
Yeah.
Like, at least if you're playing from the easiest tee boxes, people expect you not to be good.
Right.
Well, they almost encourage you. They're like, "Oh, hell yeah, this guy's at whites. He's out here trying to get better." Of all of a sudden, he's
it's
playing
like, this
black.
guy knows he knows where he belongs. He's accepted it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I just said earlier, there's a statistic that 70% of golfers don't break 100. So like you're in the majority, man. You're not like some rare breed of golfer who's like people are gonna be staring at and pointing and laughing. I do think the thing with golf, especially when you golf with other people, the first few times you go out, you're very self-conscious of your game. You're very aware of like, even in your swing, like people watching you, there's like a little gallery, even if it's 3 guys who are in your pairing, you're kind of self-conscious about that. And it's hard enough to even focus to begin with. But when you have those things going on in your head, it's like, it just makes it that much more difficult. So eliminate, the distractions and the difficulties and just go to the white tee box.
Yeah.
Man. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's literally
boys aren't going to laugh at you.
No, there's no shame in playing whites. I have a buddy who I play very frequently with, and his go-to line every time, because he always wants to play tips. And I'm like, I'm a whites guy. I'll maybe stretch out to the blues, but I'm like, why don't we just play like whites or blues today? And he's like, well, I'm paying for the full course. And it's like, that's not the point of it. Like, I don't want to pay.
That's a good line.
I don't want to pay to suck. I want to pay to play a good.
What you could do too is a lot of courses are starting to do this too. You could play like combo tees, which is kind of fun.
Like blue
so,
golds.
You can look at like the 5 or 6 hardest holes that are really long and say, okay, from these holes we'll play the whites, but there's normally like at least a few par 4s that are shorter.
Yep.
So you're like, okay, for these ones we'll play the blues because it's not like outside our wheelhouse, but like for the holes that's like the number 1 handicap and like it's like shooting to Mississippi to get to the par 5.
Right. Yeah.
You know, maybe we'll play the whites on that. So then that way he can have a little bit of like a variance and still be able to like not go completely out of his wheelhouse and play a tee box that he shouldn't be playing. If you're like even a par 3, if you play like a 135 shot and then you go to a 175 yard shot, that is a drastic difference between a wedge and like a lower iron.
Yep.
Like it makes a difference.
I also want to add, like for golfers, especially my level, not once have I told somebody my score and they asked me what tees I played.
No, never.
Never.
No,
you can play junior tees and be like, yeah, I shot a 78 today.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, man, you had a great round.
So play wherever the hell you want, buddy.
Yeah.
No one's going to ask you.
That's 100% right. And I feel like when you're a shitty golfer and when you start out, people don't even ask you what you shot because they know it's probably a high score anyways.
Right.
So like people aren't going to believe you if you're like, bro, I shot an 87 today. And it's like, dude, you couldn't break 100 if you tried, you know? So like, I feel like at that point, it's just about getting out there and getting comfortable with the game and working on your game and like getting better. And like you said, like eventually that'll come to you, but there's no need, like you got to walk before you can run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, then one thing too that we're really big on is making the game fun and competitive for every level of golf. So we play a ton of random side games. Like we're playing 3-putt poker, we're scrambling, we're playing wolf, bingo, bango, bongo, you name it. We play it. You mentioned you guys scramble all the time. Are you playing any other side games? And if you are, what are your favorite? What are your go-tos for those guys?
The one that we've done a couple times now that I really like is we've done like a team. So like if we're doing like Perez obviously is like a super good golfer. So normally he'll play solo and then Bob and I'll play together like against him.
Yep.
But what we've been doing is we do like reverse mulligans. So like we'll get like the Jet, for example, who's normally not like playing with us, he's filming. He'll be like the guy who will shoot the reverse mulligan for us. So like if Perez makes like a crazy putt for birdie, we'll be like, no, that's a reverse. And like, it'll reverse the putt and then Jet has to make the putt.
I love that.
So then the same thing for him with us. So like, instead of like getting a mulligan on a bad shot, you're basically wiping away somebody else's good shot.
Yep.
And it makes it really strategic because like you only have, say like in 9 holes, we'll do like 4 or 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have to be super selective. Be like, okay, Jet's weakness is his drive. So like, it's like, okay, so whenever Perez makes like a bomb of a drive, we should probably remove that and give him Jet's drive because it's probably going to be shittier.
Yep.
Whereas Jet's really good at putting. And it's like, if we still give Jet like this tough putt, he might still make it.
Right.
So like, it just forces you to really be strategic when you're playing with friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like it's a cool way to go about your game. And like, it makes you selectively like decide when you're going to like screw your friend over in order to make him redo a shot.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that.
But how pissed off does Perez get when you pull away a great shot?
The thing is that he doesn't make that. I mean, most of his shots he makes are good. So that's why it's hard with him because like Bob and I, a lot of the shots we'll make are not that good, you know? So like when we do make a great one, we're like super stoked and be like reverse. And we're like, what the hell? He's used to making better shots to the point where like, I think he actually, the first time that we did it, he didn't like, I think he was smart enough that he made like shots that were just good enough, but not like as good as he normally would make. So like he'd aim for the middle of the green instead of like putting it within 2 feet.
Yeah.
And like, so then we're just like, okay, well, he's probably going to make something better than that. So it was really hard for us. He's super smart and strategic and his golf knowledge is way better than ours. But I think we get more pissed off because we're not as used to making great shots, and then just to have them taken away from us, it stinks.
Yeah, Perez has got some swagger. It's like this guy, you look at this guy, you're like, he doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's gonna stick par threes within 5 feet. He's gonna hit hammer drives. And I fucking love that swagger.
He's got such a great like golfer mentality too.
Yeah.
Like what people don't really know about him is like when he golfs, especially when he's playing competitive golf against someone else, he really doesn't let like the highs get too high or the lows get too low. Like, so when we're playing, you see him do the Euro step and stuff, but like when he's playing a competitive match, he tries to stay even keel throughout. So like he doesn't allow himself to get too jacked up. He just really just focuses on the next shot. And like, if, he makes a bad shot, it doesn't exist in him. Whereas like for me, my mental game is trash. Like I just can't let go of shit,
Mine
like
too.
I'll have a 300-yard drive and have like 55, 60 yards in. And I'm thinking, okay, like I'm going to have a birdie chance here. Like I just got to make a good chip and I skull it over the green. And now I'm like, what the hell? And I can't mentally get over it. Like he's got like a really good golfer's disposition where he knows his game. He plays to his strengths and he never plays outside of what he's good at. So like we played with Bryson, we played with guys like who can pound the ball and will always go for like par 5s and 2. I rarely will ever see Perez go for a par 5 and 2. He will always play it a layup to like what his safe zone is, like that 100 yards, 85, 90, 110 yard range that he knows he's such dynamite with his wedges that he's like, that's going to give me a better chance to get a birdie than trying to slam a 245 yard shot.
Yeah.
When there's bunkers everywhere and this and that, like he's very, very smart and he plays his game and people don't really see that. They just see like the swagger and like his attitude on the course, but like he's grown up being a golfer and he just understands the game in a way that like it's fun to play with him because it kind of rubs off on you.
For sure.
Even though like I still stink, like I take a lot of the lessons that he gives out there and it's like, man, I should be doing this consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my grandpa Dave is kind of a recurring character on this podcast. Grandpa Dave, he's got a motto that's know your game, play your game. Don't do anything else. That's all you got to do. And he hits
everyone
it.
has their strengths, right?
Yep. He can hit it 180 yards. Yeah. Yeah, he hits it 180 yards. It's straight, and he knows that he's going to do it every single time. And I've never beaten him. He's 76 years old, and I can't beat him because he is the same every time. He's methodical, and like there's a mental edge there where you know what you can do, and you execute it every single time.
Yeah. Yep.
That's also part of the allure of golf too, right? Like when you know there's a game that you can play like well into your 80s and like regardless if you hit the ball a mile or like you hit the ball, my uncle's the same thing. He hits the ball like 150 yards with a driver. He'll take a driver on a par 3, but like he just knows his game and his putting and his chipping are exceptional.
Yep.
And it saves him a shit ton of strokes. And like we'll play and I'll be like, how the hell is he like shooting in the 80s when he can't drive the ball for shit?
Yeah, and I'm not out here shooting 80s either. What's going on here?
His saying is drive for show, putt for dough.
Yep.
And same thing. It sounds like your grandpa Dave sounds like an absolute beauty, but like it is exciting because it's like, when we become decrepit or our bones get rigid and we can't do the things that we can do now, you can still excel at the game. There's just so many ways to be able to enjoy it, which is kind of cool because you can't do that with any other sport.
No, you can't just go play noon ball at the local YMCA at 85 years old. I mean, it's probably just not going to work out for you.
Unless you're Kyrie Irving dressed up in disguise.
Uncle Drew. Yep. Yeah.
So I think we got one more question from us. You guys do a ton of scrambles. We do a ton of scrambles. What makes a good scramble partner?
I think that's a great question. I think it's a guy who, first of all, you have to be a good team guy, right? Like you have to have good like positive energy, like good vibes. Like I would rather play with somebody who's like a little less skillful, but has like great like positive energy is going to like pick me up when I'm down, is not going to like, then to play with the guy who's like a scratch golfer, but like I make a bad shot and he's like yelling at me.
Mhm.
Like you have to be able to come together and realize like it's truly not a single player game. Like you have to understand like your partner's going to make mistakes. And when that happens, you got to be there for them. So like having that positive energy and having a trust that like if you go first and you screw up a shot, you know that your buddy is going to come through clutch. So like I think it's a combination of that, and then also too like a good pairing. Like Bob and I are a good scramble team because like his weaknesses are my strengths.
Yep.
So like we piggyback off one another. And I think if you have like I'm really good off, I don't know, say really good, but my strengths are off the tee. Like I have a big ball, like my drives and stuff, like I can pound the ball when I'm hitting fairways, like, and I'm locked in. Like that's my strengths. Bob's strengths is more his short game, which is where I have no finesse. So like inside the 100-yard range, his irons and his chipping and his putting is like, it gives us a chance to excel. So like, I think to answer your question, you have to have a like complementary, like assets that can kind of piggyback off one another, good vibes. And like, I think you just have to have like a good connection. Like you just have to be like, when you're playing with a guy who's like your like real close buddy, like it's so much more enjoyable than when you're playing Scramble with some random guy that you don't know, because you kind of have to feel each other out, right?
Yep.
When the two of you are playing together, like you guys probably have golfed how many times together? You guys know how your demeanor on the course, you know like how to pick each other up. Like Bob knows how to keep me calm. Like, cause I'm a loose cannon. I blow my shit. He knows how to keep me like, at least like, it's okay. We're doing great. You're playing good. Like you got this next shot. And like those things go a long way. So I think a lot of it isn't necessarily even like your skill. It's more of like how you connect and how you vibe with your teammates.
Well, I don't know if this is a crazy take or not, but for me personally, for average golfers, I think the highs in a scramble are higher than me golfing by myself. I have never been more jacked than when the shitty player in our 4-man scramble makes an amazing shot. That brings the whole group together. Everyone's jumping up and down.
Team win.
They're losing their shit. Like that might be the only shot of his you use the whole round, but that is more exciting to me than getting an eagle by myself.
I agree because, and Paul, I play a lot of scrambles myself, right? But like the thing is that I really feel that when you're playing in a scramble, like the bad shots don't feel as bad.
No.
Because you're really relying on one another. You're relying on your boys to like somebody out of the two of us is going to make a big shot, is going to step up to the plate. So like it's exciting, and it's like, especially with putting, right? Like you have a long putt, like the first guy is just trying to get the read. The second guy is trying to take that read and then
confirm
like,
the read,
get the speed down.
Yep.
And like then the third guy is legitimately like knows what the putt's going to do, is trying to make it. And then your fourth guy's like your ace. So like when it goes down like your fourth guy and you need to make that putt and he makes it, it's like the three guys before him didn't necessarily make the putt, but without them at least giving him all those different reads and like attributes, the fourth guy isn't able just to walk up and not know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, so in some ways, it's like everybody is contributing a little bit to that putt being made, which makes that celebration so great because you're like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Which is why I think like your best player should always putt last or shoot last.
Yeah.
Because he can see what the guys before him are doing and like take it to heart, you know?
Well, and then even on the flip side, if all four of you miss, well, at least we fucking suck together. You know?
That's a tough look when you all miss the putt. But like sometimes
But then that's not on one guy's shoulder then at that point.
That's true. And then sometimes like you don't expect the first guy to walk up and just nail the putt. So like to your credit, what you were saying is like when that guy, like when we play the 4-man scramble, Jet would putt first for us. And like there'd be times Jet comes up and just nails a putt. And like everybody doesn't have to worry. And it's just like everybody's like celebrating together. You're like, let's fucking go. It's awesome. You know, and it's a great feeling because no one's expecting that one to drop.
Yeah.
Like how often are you playing in like organized scrambles? It's like 40 teams of 4 or whatever.
We haven't really done that much. We've done a couple tournaments now where we played, and like we did a tournament this last year where we were like, okay, we're gonna play in the tournament, we're gonna film it. We're going to do like 2 9s, and we're going to film us being in the tournament, like show how we did overall. And it was super cool because, like you said, there was a lot of different people competing in it, and we actually played really good. And like there was 2 parts to the video, and it was super cool. But like the problem with those things is like you get these assholes who are like, oh, we shot 22 under.
Yeah.
We're pretty excited because we went like 15 under in 18 holes, or like 14 under, but like we're not going to shoot like 20 under. You know what I mean? Like, we still did well, but like we haven't done too many of those things, but we do play a lot of like our filming is in scrambles just amongst ourselves, or like the best ones are like when we got Max Homa, or we got like
that was great.
Keegan Bradley, and we're doing like a 3v1, and it's like me, Bob, and Perez versus them. Because it's like you're playing against a pro. Like, so it seems unfair that there's 3 of us compared to 1, but like Bob and I are not good golfers. Perez is scratched, so that's like our kind of asset. But those are the most fun because like no pro wants to come on our channel and lose to us.
100%.
So, like, they're having fun, but like they're still taking it seriously. And like for us, we want to beat these guys. So it's like those are the most fun scrambles that we play. Like by far, that's the most enjoyable. We have one coming out tomorrow. Actually, it's us versus Bo Hostler that we filmed not long ago. And I feel like our game like has gotten better, like in terms of like how we play all together. You know, so those are really enjoyable and a lot of fun. And it's just like everybody's like rooting for one another to like take a big shot or step up. And like when it happens, it's just total good vibes, man.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say for like the next time you are at a tournament, like a scramble tournament like that, one of the things that we like to do is like even when we're on the greens, nothing's happening, just start cheering. Like somebody made a massive putt. And it starts fucking with all the other teams. Like, oh my God, you do it like 2 or 3 times on the front 9. Everyone's like, these guys are playing good. And it is in the back of their heads the rest of the time.
It's like, no, we were 5 under through 9. No, we're chilling.
It's fun though, like when you do have a big moment that you can literally erupt.
Yes.
Like when we were in that tournament, I chipped in for eagle from like, I don't know, we were like probably like 10 yards off the green, and I chipped in on like swirled around and went in for, and we were going nuts. Or like Perez made an eagle in that round. It was like a 50-foot putt. And so like those are truly like, you just erupt, but you do, to your point, you hear guys going nuts. You're like, what the hell just happened? You know what I mean? I never thought somebody's fabricating it. So now
hey, you can use that to your advantage now. Every time you hear someone else cheering, like, it's just, they're just fucking with us. They're not doing good.
I don't know how many people actually do that.
I was totally a joke. We don't ever actually do that.
It's fun though. We should have you guys played in a lot of tournaments like that? A lot of 4-man scramble tournaments.
We actually do a ton of them, and most of them we don't film them. We just do it because it's a fucking blast. Like we play in a lot of the local. So we're in Fargo, North Dakota. It's cooler than piss for half the year, and so in the summer we'll do like a ton of local bar sponsored ones or charity.
Those are like
ones
our leisure rounds essentially that we just like, we put the cameras down, all the boys have a phenomenal time. It would be great content if we did film them, but I don't think we would get what we actually do if we had the cameras running. So
the cameras, I think it comes to a certain point, like after a while where like you just play as if the camera's not there. Like the first few times when you're filming your golf rounds, it's like, I remember the first time I ever went to film with Bob on a round, I was like, they're trying to mic us up. And I was like, I don't want any mics on me. I don't want anything on me. I don't mind the camera being in my face, but get this mic the hell off me. Like I felt like I was like pulling at it. The thing was falling down. So like we never play with mics, but like it gets to the point where like eventually you're just playing and it's like you're not even conscious that you're
100%.
But the first few times it's definitely difficult because like it's hard enough to focus on golf, and then you're thinking like, I was talking about like a gallery where you're playing in a foursome, you have 3 guys watching you. Well, imagine when you have hundreds of thousands of people viewing your videos, you're like, oh my God, that horrific shot that I made, like that's not going to disappear after the next hole.
No, it's always there.
Well, that's how you got to make friends with the editor. They'll make you look better.
I'm good friends with Jet. I'm probably taking him out for dinner tonight, so we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Sometimes,
Love it,
no
man.
matter how much editing you can have in the world, you can't make up for just terrible trash round.
Agreed.
Been
You
there.
got to show my shots.
Agreed.
You know what
and,
I mean?
and then it's not as authentic either. So it's like, hey, I'm a trash golfer, and when I'm golfing good, this is legitimate. Awesome, man. Well, Joe, we'll keep you on for a minute here after we're done, but appreciate you coming on. This was a ton of fun. We didn't even do an intro.
Yeah,
we'll do
we'll
that.
have to
We'll do
do
that
one in
off because we
post.
just started.
Yeah, I
BS right
started
away.
talking, then all of a sudden it's halfway through my first response, like the session is being recorded. I was like, oh
Yeah.
boy.
No, all good, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we want it. So no, we appreciate you coming on, and we hope you guys all enjoy the interview, and we'll be right back.
All right, that was our interview with Joey Coldcuts from Bob Does Sports. Honestly, good guy.
Good guy.
I'm very, very happy, Jake, that he is the exact same person online as he was in that interview.
Identical.
It's refreshing.
It's almost like it's like him.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like they just threw a camera and recorded him. Ryan, what'd you think? Cool. Ryan is still gone because I recorded the intro and the outro at the same time, so he had to run. But we talked shop with Joey after the interview for like another half an hour.
Yeah.
So the guy, he can talk.
He can.
He can talk, but it was fun. It was fun getting to know him. Hopefully we can do something with him in the future. For those of you guys that maybe he's new to you, go check out all of his stuff with Bob Does Sports. Check out his stuff on his personal pages at Joey Coldcuts. And he just started a podcast. It's called Sportsman. And then they have their YouTube channel, which is massive, Bob Does Sports. And then the Bob Does Sports the Bob Does Sports podcast. So
Nailed
guys, go check that stuff out. Show him some love because he is a good guy and we enjoyed having him on. And anything else you want to add, Jake?
Love you.
Love you. Thanks for tuning in to One Wade Boggs.
One Daryl Strawberry.
I already did that one.
Ah, shit. You're right. One Jimmy Fox.
Oh, who the fuck is Jimmy Fox?
Oh, I don't know. I saw it on the list.
You piped that the wrong way.
I'll call the clubhouse. We'll book another 18 for tomorrow.
Okay, they cheated on that. They fluffed their balls.
Yeah, no better time for the breakfast ball than now.